Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very much. And we talk all the time about the people who are boots on the ground, people who are making a difference in our community. Very few are doing that, like the group that does that down with the District Attorney's Office in Lafourche and the Children's Advocacy Center. Very excited to have those members with us today. First, Christine Russell, the DA over in Lafourche Parish. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me, as always.
Very good. Sitting next to her is Shannon Grow, who's the forensic interviewer at the Children's Advocacy Center in Lafourche. Welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And sitting next to him is Heidi Irwin, a licensed clinical social worker down with the DA's office. Heidi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And so just one of those things that are so very necessary, taking care of the kids, and very few people do it as well as you guys do it in Lafourche. Just talk about the importance of the Children's Advocacy Center.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Terrebonne has a fantastic center as well. I certainly want to address them as well. So when I speak about the centers, I mean Terrebonne too.
Yep.
The Children's Advocacy Center, we've been in existence since 2005. And so for those who do not know, any child who makes an allegation of physical or sexual abuse will go to our center to be interviewed. And the purpose of it is to reduce the trauma. Mm-hmm. Before the center, our children were interviewed 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And they had to retell the events, and that's hard for an adult, much less a 5 or 6-year-old. Mm-hmm. So with a trained forensic interviewer doing that interview for us, it reduces the trauma for our children. And for us in the DA's office, 1, we center on our victims, mm-hmm. and 2, it certainly helps with prosecution when we can have that interview from the center to use when we try our cases.
Right. And Shannon, one of the people that do that, just talk about how long you've been doing it and the training that goes into that. And just the joy that you have in knowing that you're helping those kids.
Yes, sir. I've been at the Advocacy Center since 2006.
Okay.
Immediately was sent to training.
Yeah.
The primary source of my training comes through the National Children's Advocacy Center, which is based in Huntsville, Alabama.
Right.
And we're part of the Southern Regional aspect of it. I have extensive training over the last 16, 17 years in basic facilitation of interviews, all the way up to specifically to human trafficking, types of trainings on how to talk to kids and just victims in general.
Right.
Since I've been there, I have conducted, as of this morning when I kind of compiled all my stats, I personally have conducted a little over 3,000 interviews since I've been there.
3,000 interviews, just the number is staggering, sad, but necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And trend-wise, over the beginning, I remember when it first came on, I used to sit down with Christine at the beginning and go, how do I justify a job for only like 100 interviews a year? Well, now I'm at a point where I'm doing almost 300 interviews a year.
300, so 3 times that from
yes,
where
sir.
We started. And I really want to echo the importance of doing these kinds of shows by making sure that kids know what is or isn't appropriate and being able to have them come forward. Some of the statistics that they did, some of the best kept secret many years ago, a great book about abuse that we're probably familiar with. That book talked a lot about the fact that 1 out of every 2 females, 1 out of every 3 males have had some inappropriateness, and being able to figure that out and have an environment where they can go and feel comfortable telling that story. It's why some of the policies have changed and why somebody like you does 300 of those a year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to think of Florence's last name, and I will in a minute. But that was alarming to me way back when. That was in graduate school. A long, long time ago. And as long as you've been kind of doing this, and that's just really exciting to know that we've got those people coming forward and they're getting one person to talk to.
Yes, sir.
And especially when it's somebody at a Children's Advocacy Center where it's so warm and inviting, and we talk about all those things that make it easier for them to talk and communicate, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, so very good. And the value of having a licensed clinical social worker on staff at the DA's office. So tell us a little bit, Heidi, about that role and how that works with the CAC.
Sure. So one of the things that I think has been most exciting for me is having the Children's Advocacy Center, but also in hiring a licensed professional counselor. it makes the work that we all do on my end at the district attorney's office, once the case gets to us, the service part has already been initiated.
Right.
So, when someone is waiting for the case to go to trial, be it 16, 24 months out, by the time they do come to us, number one, so much time has gone by.
Right.
When they do get to us, they may not have been in therapy or have really blocked it out, to try and block out the trauma. So
Sure.
having that consistent counseling in place it's huge for us. Very exciting.
Well, and I liken it to this. I'll make this analogy. I love the fact that as LCSW through the DA's office, that we're able to partner with
Yes.
our colleagues, right? It is very much similar to what Lafourche and Terrebonne do the same in great children's advocacy. That's what social workers and LPCs can do together. Oh, and that's just one of those things. I think people ask all the time, oh, well, what's the difference? And is there a big difference? Well, no, we're all about helping to take
Yes.
care of people. One goal, to be able to do that. And so I like that. And so again, I talk to our friends over in Lafourche all the time about how we do that and how Terrebonne and Lafourche are similar. That's how LCSWs and LPCs are similar. It's all about helping the kids, all focused on children and making sure that they're okay. But this is an important month. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. So Jen, put that flyer up. I want to let people know why that's so important to think about. And so again, a National Prevention Month for child abuse prevention. Finding the tools, tips, and resources, you can go to www.childwelfare.gov/prevention month. And again, through the Children's Bureau and through the Child Welfare Information Gateway. Yeah, and so it's really interesting that we want to celebrate that, but the way to celebrate that is helping people find those tools. And y'all are doing that by partnering with people in the community.
Absolutely. And April is the month that you put the spotlight on child abuse awareness. But I think for us, every single day of the year is child abuse awareness. So we are constantly trying to get out in the community with our schools. We partner with them and with as many organizations as we can, and certainly with the Advocacy Center, to get to our children and our parents to give the message that we are here and we're ready to assist. Oftentimes people don't know where to go.
Right.
And so we have to make sure that we get the resources and the tools to them just in case they are in that situation.
And it's really interesting. A lot of those statistics over the years, Florence Rush is her name, by the way, the best kept secret. It rushed to me. About some of those statistics is very often it may not be a family member, that sometimes family members are concerned, but it may be a close personal friend or a family friend or an extended family member. That's the value, right, Shannon, of being able to talk with the kids at school, being able to talk with those parents. Tell us about some of those programs y'all are doing.
Yeah, we feel that our numbers are have gone up over the years because of the community outreach. We get into the schools. We started the program a long time ago. It's a custom-made program, just of the importance of what we're seeing from the interviews. So we compiled the important details that were coming through the interview, bullying, cyberbullying specifically, social media, inappropriate photographs, those types of things. And so we're getting into the schools and we're introducing who we are.
Right.
And that's the basis of the beginning of the student presentation. We go into schools throughout Lafourche Parish at the request of the school. They contact me or through the district attorney's office and request that I come in. It's about a 45 to 50-minute presentation. And what it consists is it covers all those topics, but it's a very interactive program to the point where the children are learning about if they do disclose something, they know who they're going to go to. So we break some of the barriers down, the
Right.
scary part of
Right.
what happens when I
Right.
tell. Who am I going to go talk to? So I go out there and I tell them I'm the guy you're going to come talk to. So I just give them that little bit of ease of what happens next. And I explain to them that it may not be you that has had something happen to them. You may know somebody or a friend confides in you and you need to really reaffirm to that friend that they need to let somebody know. We get a lot of reports through mandated laws now in place, which
Right.
is phenomenal because educators and nurses and those in those different fields are doing their jobs.
Mandated reporters.
Absolutely, yes, sir. And then we also take it to the next level where we reach out to parents and we go into after-school programs. Schools are doing like PTO nights and having me come in on their PTO nights. It's about an hour-long process where I teach parents about some safety techniques, but we go into gaming devices. Some parents know that they have an Xbox at home, but they don't know how to run the Xbox. So we go over settings, parental controls inside Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. I go through some games specifically, with some ratings and data that they need to know about games, and then we go into apps.
Right.
And that's about an hour-long process. It's a little overwhelming for some parents.
Right.
But it's the bottom line at the end of that presentation is communication with your children and learn what they're doing. You don't have to be on it all the time, but know what they're involved in.
Right. And to know what is or isn't inappropriate.
Absolutely.
Because, we've learned through generations of, keeping those secrets, if you will, of what is or isn't appropriate. And it's important for parents and kids to know this is okay, this is not.
That's right.
And that's what that is, right? That education. I'm completely fine with parents being a little uncomfortable if we're going to keep the kids safe.
Absolutely.
And so let's put that up, Jen, if you don't mind. Every child deserves to be safe. And I love this perspective that here in April at Child Abuse Prevention Month, there's some wonderful words in there that y'all have done to kind of let people know why that's important. And the big ones are child safety awareness, love, and safety. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones that stand out to me because you care. It's about their health. Those are really important things. I was trying to read them, like I want to read every word that's in there, right? But that's what it's about. Every child deserves to know that they're strong. Every child deserves to know that they can be safe. And every child needs to know that they can be free of those people changing the power dynamic. And very often that's what that's about. And letting parents know about that and making sure that the kids feel validated to be able to do that. Some final thoughts, Christine.
I think communication, Shannon just mentioned, is key. I think if parents can start talking to their children about good touch, bad touch at a very early age. We talk about stranger danger so much, but oftentimes 95% of the cases are someone they know. So we have to make sure we're having the conversations of what do you do if it's someone that you know. So for me, it's about parents just really starting to talk to their children. Use this month to start having that conversation with them. And if anyone ever needs any questions or concerns or resources, call us.
Right. They can reach
Absolutely.
out to David, and
Always
he'll
call
get
David.
that he'll get that
Absolutely.
information to where it needs to go. We trust in him with that. And so, Heidi, I know it's important to be able to get that information and share that, but thank you for what you're doing and how that works. Shannon, thank you as well about what you do every day. And it's a difficult job. That is not easy. But we want to empower people to be able to call and say, we need help. And my child needs help, and it's about the kids and getting them that help.
It is. And let me just say, Jason Chatnier is our assistant, and he's doing a phenomenal job for our children. So we have a great team.
We appreciate that. Thank you all for what you do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou time when we continue.